Salam alaikum. Welcome to a new episode of Stories and a Cup. There's something powerful about being the first to carry expectations, the first to walk a path no one has quite walked before, the first to quietly figure things out so others can follow a little more easily. Today's guest knows that role deeply. As the oldest of five sisters, mashallah, raised in the United States by parents who made their journey from Egypt, she grew up balancing cultures, responsibilities, and unspoken expectations. Raised in a conservative home, she became a bridge between generations, values, and between what was and what could be. She was the first to step into marriage, the first to navigate adulthood in her own way, and someone who worked hard to build her place in the corporate world, all while raising her four children. Her story doesn't stop there. Today, she finds herself in what many call the sandwich generation, holding space for her children while also caring for her aging parents. It's a space filled with love, pressure, responsibility, and often quiet resilience. In this episode, we explore what it really means to be the oldest, how that identity shapes who you become, the weight you carry, and the strength you grow into. We talk about giving back to the very people who once carried you, and what it looks like to juggle it all, while still trying to find yourself in the process. This is a conversation about responsibility, sacrifice, identity, and the quiet, powerful ways women hold everything together. Welcome, Winna. Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be part of this.
So let's begin. And before we begin, I realize you like your coffee black with a little bit of color.
Yes, I do.
So if your life was a cup of coffee right now, how and what would it be?
I would say it's black with a little bit of color. No, I would say I do like to add a little bit of milk or cream or something. Adding a little bit of spice to it and the flavor is what I enjoy doing. So I mix it up. And so that's a pretty good representation of life. It's kind of unpredictable. And so to make it fun and interesting once in a while, you just do things. You just do different things. And so you take it as it comes along and do what makes you happy.
Yeah. Do you feel like you're pouring into everyone else's cup around you? Or have you found ways to refill your own cup?
Life is never balanced all the time. So there are definitely times where you feel like you're always pouring into someone else's cup and nobody's pouring into yours. And so you have to stop every once in a while and rebalance. Don't ever expect others to pour into your cup. So you have to refill your own. So I think it's important to recognize when your cup is empty, understand what it means to have a full cup, and learn to take care of yourself accordingly. Also, it's important to be able to communicate to others when it's just been too much for you, right? And that happens, like I said, it's different seasons that you come across. And it ebbs and it flows. But yes, it varies. Again, it's not predictable. So you got to be flexible. There's times where all you're doing is giving, giving, giving. And you're like, wait a minute, it's been 2 months since I've done this. I need to stop and take care of that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Mana, as the oldest of five sisters, mashallah, tabarakallah, what is a memory that instantly takes you back to that role, being the oldest?
Wow, there's a lot. Hard to remember just one. I will say, as you start to think about just the responsibility, the first to have to experience everything, it's the little things from we have a guest coming to the house and mom needs help getting the house ready. So I was kind of the ringleader in getting the house ready.
Yeah, I can see that.
And my sisters were like, why are you just sitting there telling us what to do? And I'm like, I'm organizing the process and we're going to get it done together. The biggest part of the process is thinking about how we're going to get it done, but I'm also cleaning and I'm helping.
Yeah.
I think they were like sometimes annoyed I was taking over the process.
Yeah.
to obviously being the first to wear hijab, going to college, getting married, all the firsts, right? All the
Yeah.
firsts. My parents were
Yeah.
learning along the way with
Mm,
me, right?
mm.
Um, One of the funny memories about being that ringleader was every Thanksgiving we get together at my parents' house. And one year I had a conflict. I can't remember what it was, but I couldn't. We always whatever, we meet on Saturday before Thanksgiving and we spend the whole week together. And I had to show up later than the rest. So they noticed my absence because I was kind of helping to organize. So what they ended up doing was I think they made a hat and they put my name on it and they started wearing the hat around the house because they were like, "This is Mona. You get to be Mona today and you get to tell us what to do." And it wasn't that I necessarily always just took over and did things, but they just felt like I helped organize things and get us kind of
Yeah.
get things in order. So
Yeah.
I just naturally took that role
Mm.
all the time.
Yeah. You don't think about it when you're going through it, right?
No.
A lot of times you're just thrown into it.
Yeah, and then sometimes you're like, "I don't want that role anymore. I wanna be the passenger princess."
Totally. What is something about being the oldest in your family that people don't talk about enough? We joke and we always say like we're the guinea pigs, right? When you're the first because your parents don't know any better and they they kind of just go along and try things and
Yeah, I think it was for them, the biggest fear for immigrants like our parents was raising children in the US and the fear of leaving their culture and their safe environment to raise kids here. And so the precautions they took, the decisions they may have made along the way may have impacted me more than the rest. We sometimes laugh and compare how they handled things with me versus my youngest sister.
Mm,
And
yeah.
on one hand, the younger the parents are, the more energy they have versus as they get
Yeah.
older, it's like, well, yeah, we're tired now. Just do
Yeah.
whatever, right? But the fear of raising children in an unknown environment and trying to protect them
Mm,
was a big deal. So they created a safe haven for us and they really were careful about what friends we hung out with and how much we spent time at activities in school and all of those things to make sure that we were raised right and raised well. But I think that was a struggle because I understood by going to Egypt and hearing from my parents about how they were raised and what family symbolized for them. And I would see what was happening in schools and heard that. So I could see the clear difference in culture. But it was really hard to rationalize in my head why we had to be the ones to deal with it and why did we have to suffer.
yeah.
I don't want to say suffer because I don't feel like I suffered, but why were we the guinea pigs? Why did we have to deal with all of that?
Mm. Yeah, it was like kind of a choice that they had and a decision that they made, but then you had to, you had
Yeah.
to go through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard. Do you ever feel like you have to be the strong one all the time? Growing up, did you feel like you just had to be strong because your sisters were looking up to you all the time?
I think we all were raised to be pretty strong, so I don't think I was singled out. I think there were times where there was maybe responsibilities placed on me as the eldest, but we all had fair responsibilities, like where it came to taking care of responsibilities in the house or what have you. So I don't think it was unfairly placed upon me as being the strong one. Maybe me and my next sister, the two oldest, maybe we did a little bit more just because, we were closer in age and things like that. But I don't really feel like it was unfairly placed on me. If there was anything that happened, it may have been self-imposed in some ways. Maybe I felt a
Yeah.
responsibility in a way, but I don't necessarily think it was placed on me.
Okay. That's great. If your younger self could see your life today, what do you think would surprise her the most?
Wow, that one's hard. I started off pre-med. I was going down the path of being a doctor. I didn't end up there, and that's okay. Again, I was flexible. I changed my mind, and that's okay. I thought I would have 3 children. We had 4. They're a blessing.
That's cool, yeah.
Um, I don't know. I wanted to be successful and all of that, but I never painted expectations for myself that would later make me disappointed, if that made sense. So I'm not.
Or maybe even surprise you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I just kind of went with the flow, and I guess through my life, I've had different challenges that along the way I've adjusted. And so I've learned to manage expectations. So perhaps it's just not been surprising.
Growing up in a conservative Egyptian household in the US, how did you navigate those two worlds?
So when we always had to understand our faith and go back to our faith when we had conflict. So whenever there was, for example, different events at school, we'd go back to faith and say, does this make sense? Is this part of who we are? And so school dances, those weren't part of who we are. Why would we go? We would have alternatives. Our friends, our circle of trust, the people that we hung out and spent the most time with were our Muslim friends. So my parents were intentional about making time and bringing those families together for us. That doesn't mean we didn't have friends at school. That doesn't mean I never hung out with friends from school. But over time, you learn to identify those who were closer to you in value.
Yeah.
And you learn that in middle school, kids change. And by high school, they've changed a lot. And you know who is going to help you in your personal journey. And so those were some of the conflicts. Like I still remember, and this goes back to being the first, I still remember in like 4th or 5th grade, there was some like overnight camp that we were going to. And my parents refused to let me stay overnight. Refused. So much so that my second sister, when the time came for her to go to camp, my parents actually were going to let her go. And she just said, no, there's no way I'm going to go. I'm not going to go. By the 3rd and 4th and 5th, they all went to camp and they got to stay overnight. And I'm like, that's not fair. I wasn't even allowed to stay. My second sister was like, I'm not going to go at all. I'm just going to choose not to.
Yeah.
And then the 3 of them got to go to camp. So you can start to see that they adjusted and learned that, yeah, schools took precautions. They knew their bounds and limits. And, that was them learning and adjusting over time as to what was in the bounds of acceptable. But yes, it's a learning process. But it comes back to we had to understand our faith and how it impacts us. And then part of it was getting comfortable that we knew who we were and weren't going to waver on that in front of others, right?
Yeah.
I started wearing hijab when I was 11, so I was in middle school.
Wow, mashallah.
Yeah. And it was a journey, so I wasn't comfortable to start wearing it like normally. So I actually wore it as a bandana in the back, and I had just moved to Dallas.
Is that something you personally decided?
I will say I didn't, if I had it, so I knew I needed to wear it, but if I was left to my own, I probably would have waited. But my mom said, it's time. And I said, yeah, I do know I should be wearing it. So I decided to wear it. I probably would have been like, can I just wait a year? Like I wanted to just wait. But I'm like, you know what? I'll just do it. But I'm going to wear it. But if I want to wear it, can I wear it this way instead? And Mom was like, yeah, wear how you're comfortable wearing it. So I wore it to the back. I wore it like a turban style. And I wore it to school. And kids asked me all kinds of questions. So I had just moved to Dallas and Plano schools. And I was the first to wear hijab in the family as a child. The first in Plano schools to wear hijab.
What?
Nobody that I was aware of in Plano ISD. And to my knowledge, through high school, I don't know of any other Plano ISD student that was wearing hijab
So
the whole
not just
time.
the first in your family, maybe the first in the entire city to wear it.
To my knowledge, I mean, the Muslim community was pretty small. So We would have known. I think I would have known. Maybe by the time I graduated, there were some that were entering school. But to my knowledge, there was none. So I had kids that were teasing me, asking me if I wore that to my showers. And it was at first, caused me to be like very defensive. But then I learned to like play along with it and joke about it. Like, yeah, sure, I do wear this. And you know what? When I want to change the color, I just dip my head in a bucket of paint. I just made jokes out of it and people would look at me. And then I learned to identify and read people. And I learned that this person's asking me because they want to mock me. So I'm going to mock you back and I'm going to put you in your place. But this person's asking me truly out of intention to learn and I'm going to help you. Like I'm going to teach you and I'm going to satisfy that need to learn. I'm still remembering, those types of firsts and decisions that were made along the way really helped to ground my faith and kind of make them comfortable that we were okay in our environment. In seventh grade, I remember this is a story a lot of my close friends who might be listening will remember. In seventh grade, there was a troublemaker named Mike. I don't know if Mike would ever be listening, but he came and I was walking between classes and he came and pulled at my scarf and part of my hair started to show. And I just got so angry at that moment. I felt like something exploded inside of me. So I was walking and I turned around at that very moment and I punched him as hard as I could in the back of his neck. And I started to walk away and I was like, that wasn't enough. I went back and I punched him a second time and then I kept going to class. And that was it. I sure did. Well, wait, it's not over. So then I went back. I went straight from there to PE class. We'll talk about PE class in a minute. And while I was in class, or a couple of periods later, it was PE class. I went back to class and the other class. I got called out of PE class to the dean's office. And I was like, oh, gosh, I must be in trouble. Because, you're not really supposed to hit others or bully others. So they called me to the dean's office. And when I walked in, Mike was sitting there. And the dean looked at me. He's like, have a seat. I'm like, sure. He's like, can you tell me what happened? I said, yeah. Mike tried to pull my scarf off, so I punched him twice. I said, okay. So he looked at Mike. He said, did you do that? Did that happen? He goes, yes, it did. He said, well, and he looked at me. He said, how did that make you feel? I said, it made me feel like it took away a piece of me. He's like, why are you wearing that? I said, this is because it's my faith, it's my religion, and this is a part of who I am. And when you take it off, it makes me feel uncomfortable. I'm not supposed to be uncovered in front of you, in front of others. He said, okay. He's like, how would you feel if that was happening to you? And he said, I would feel uncomfortable too. So he said, okay, Mona, go back to your class. So later on that day, as I was walking in the hall, the dean, I still remember how he looks. I can't remember his name. I'll remember it shortly. He called me off to the side and he said, Mona, I just want to let you know Mike's punishment. And he intentionally didn't let me see him in his punishment. His punishment was to sit in the front office for 30 minutes without a shirt on.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, in today's day and age, that would not be allowed.
Yeah.
Because he was a big boy.
Yeah.
He was a overweight, big boy. But what you can see from that is he learned a lesson, and that lesson stuck with me throughout my high school.
Wow.
Everybody knew the story of Mike and Mona.
Wow.
Nobody messed with me after that.
Mm.
So they knew that I was not going to let anyone push me around.
And the dean handled it really well.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I don't think, well, like you said, in this day and age, it wouldn't be allowed. But then again, that's why there's a lot of room for bullying.
Right. It was a brilliant way to handle it because you've provided somebody a lesson in a way that taught them, how you're affecting somebody.
Yes.
So anyway, the point of all that was to say there was a lot of first that we had to go through and how, we had to handle challenges that our parents didn't necessarily understand. And it was difficult for them to necessarily connect the dots sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys were out there. It's a life that they haven't experienced themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in school, I wear hijab and they tell you have to wear shorts in PE. Well, we had to get the exception. I can't wear shorts. I have to wear long sleeves. So every step of the way, there was exceptions that we had to make, right? That we had to always go for these exceptions because it was those first. We read this social studies curriculum. you find out that they're talking negatively about Muslims. I tell my mom, "Oh my goodness, what's going on?" Boom, all of a sudden for the next 10 years, while me and all my sisters go through that school, she is now the icon and has to come in during that point of the curriculum and talks about Islam and Muslims and what it means to be a Muslim. So all of these things are different opportunities we had to talk about what it means to be a Muslim in this country, all because they affected me personally. I'm sitting in a classroom and they're sitting here talking about us being a terrorist, and I'm singled out. Everyone's looking at me, and I have to raise my hand and say, that's not who I am.
That's very tough. And it's changed a lot, right? It's changed a lot in the sense that probably a lot more there's a lot more Muslims now, right?
There
And
definitely are.
it feels like from your story, you were the one,
Yes.
right?
Yes. I was the one. I knew of other Muslims. There were other Muslims. I wasn't the only, but I was the only visible.
Because of your hijab.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. We talked about values. You briefly mentioned values, Muna. What would you say are some of your core values that you will never, ever let go of?
You know, not to be a hypocrite. Don't tell somebody to do something that you don't do yourself. Humility, not to be confused with being humble.
Mm.
And I'll tell you the key difference: when you're humble, you can be perceived as timid and shy. And I'm saying that from almost like from a corporate type of standpoint, because if you are humble, too humble in a corporate, you're going to be overlooked. You have to have humility in a way that you are clear and intentional about sharing what you know, but not in a way that you are arrogant. Humility is the balance between being humble and being arrogant. So to me,
Mm.
that's what humility is. I think those are some of the key ones I would say.
Beautiful. Do you feel like you had space to discover yourself outside of the different roles that you were juggling? From first being, the oldest daughter, and then being the wife, and then the mother, and then you were also a professional in the corporate world. Do you feel like you had space to discover who Mona truly is?
I think I'm all of those things. I don't even know. I'm not even sure what that all means at that point in time. But I do think at the end of the day, this is kind of an opportunity for me to stop and pause while it is still a crossroads, you know, close to being empty nester. It's really the time for me to bring it all together. I think through the years, I've definitely found ways to ensure that I'm not lost in all this. While it was hard to have a career while raising kids, I think that has been one way to preserve myself, because I do enjoy that part of my life, bringing people together, helping them solve problems, seeing the light bulb go off, watching the joy that they have when they've figured it out.
Mm.
So that part of me is watching people learn by me facilitating that. I think another place that and these are ways that I know myself, is I really enjoy working out and taking care of myself. And it took me, even from a young age, I like to be active. Like we played volleyball growing up, or I went to the gym, and I used to do things and sporadically. And it was never until maybe what, 12 years ago, 12, 13 years ago, when I discovered that the best time for me to work out, so I didn't feel guilty about taking away from everybody else's time, was at like 5, 6 o'clock in the
The
morning.
morning, yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, and not only was it great for that, because it didn't also interrupt the rest of my flow, the rest of my day. I didn't have any other excuse, because 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning, I'm not going to be cooking. Nobody's going to be awake and asking to get dropped off to soccer, or I'm not going to be too tired or late from work or what have you. So it was the best way to start off my morning. And mashallah, it actually makes your day full of barakah and gives
Yeah.
you so much energy throughout the day. So while 80% of the time I'm able to make it happen, I don't beat myself up over the 20% that I can't. So that's been something. So I guess to say, I know the things that keep me happy. I also like to take care of myself. I like to do my regular facials, my massages, whatever, take care of my health. That's all to say that I know what keeps me going. I like to see my friends and hang out with them, and the balance is not always there on a regular basis, but every so often I check on myself and I say, "Okay, let's rebalance. Let's get back in order."
That's amazing. And somehow you've kind of answered some of the questions I had, which is who is Muna when no one needs anything from her? You mentioned a little bit about exercise and finding that, but do you have anything else to share? When nobody needs anything from you, who is Muna? We forgot to mention that you now also have a grandchild.
Yeah. Has a very good mommy who takes good care of her. She's more of the fun side, mashallah. Yeah, lately I've been working too much, which is something I personally holding myself accountable for. I need to stop and remember. However, when nobody needs anything from me, I actually have started to in the last 3 years. Oh, my husband has a laser machine. He has a business that he does. So I actually work on that. That's one of my hobbies. I do like to work out, like I said. There's always a project that needs to be done around the house. So I have a long to do list for myself, keep myself
Nice.
accountable. I like to organize things. I like things to be very neat. So I always have this like list in the back of my mind of things that has to be done. There's so many places on my bucket list of things to do. And as I mentioned, one thing that I had always thought about is my exit strategy from corporate, like I said, as being a consultant. And being a consultant for me was an opportunity to be flexible and be able to travel and have that flexibility to do what I want to when I want to. Now, I did just dive into consulting late last year. I still haven't found that right balance of being flexible, but I'm just learning the ropes now. So I don't know. We'll see if that works out,
Yeah.
inshallah. But
Inshallah.
I've started.
Yeah, that's awesome. And again, taking us to what helps Muna feel grounded when she feels like she's scattered or there's too much going on or you're juggling all these different roles and responsibilities. What helps you feel grounded?
Having a routine and having order in my life. And when I say order, it's got to be like having a neat house. Those little things make a big difference to me. And sometimes my family doesn't completely understand it, but when the house is in disarray or like certain parts of the house are messy, it's like it reflects. The kids used to not understand, like, small example, when they were growing up and it was time to they get home from school with their lunch boxes. I was like, "You guys have to put your lunch boxes away in their place. You have to put your cups here." And they would never understand why that was so important for me. It was because my mornings were very routine. I
Sure.
have structured. I have this much time to make sure all of you guys are ready. I pack lunches. If I can't find a lunchbox, digging through something to find it and have a meltdown and figure out why I don't have a lunchbox or whatever, throw my whole morning off.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't afford that. So for me, having a plan, ensuring that we have, having understanding what's next is very much what grounds me. So then when I find that things kind of get chaotic, I stop and I look at what's wrong and I write things down and I have to figure out what's off balance. It's
Yeah.
usually something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So it looks like you thrive in order and structure.
With flexibility. So it's a balance. It's a crazy balance. And so I am an executive coach as well. And any executive coach actually does get coached. So I actually have my own coaches. So I get coached. So some once in a while when I'm going through something like this, I'm actually talking to my own coach. I'm like, "Hey, look, this is what's going on right now. What do I do?" Right?
Yeah.
And here's where I'm at. Here's what I need to do. So I leverage my own executive coach once in a while when I get into these moments because a lot of times you need that other person letting you see it from a different perspective.
On a deeper level, when you look at your parents now, what emotions come up that maybe did not exist before?
I mean, I have a deep appreciation for what they did and sacrificed for us, what they sacrificed for us to bring us here. Alhamdulillah, they're relatively healthy and pretty independent still, but it's very, very deep appreciation for what they did. I wish I could spend more time with them. They still live like 4.5, 5 hours away. And then you kind of think about all the times when you were younger, when you tried to rebel. I mean, I wasn't rebellious, but even when you may have been resentful of the things they did, because now you're a parent and you're doing a lot of similar things. And then you're watching even your own children become, or my daughter become a parent, seeing her do a lot of the same things that I did. It kind of comes full circle now.
Mm, mm,
So yeah, you're just very appreciative of what they did for us.
mm.
And also I think I applied a lot of what they did in raising my children, our children.
And has your relationship with your parents shifted or changed as you're stepping into this new role of, like you mentioned, being an empty nester, having maybe a little bit more time to spend catching up with them or checking in on them? Do you feel like there's a shift that's happened?
Sometimes I feel like I'm asking them and holding them accountable for things. Like I'm saying, Dad, I need you to do this. Like I'm the one asking them to do things
Yeah.
where they were
Yeah.
they were the ones telling me before.
Yeah.
And so that's different. And with their specific health challenges, sometimes it's also hard to see them go through that. We talk about things as adults now and how we may carry our life slightly differently. We talk about things at different levels. I definitely appreciate what they went through. The struggles that they went through paved the way for how I may lead my life differently. A lot of times I'm asking them questions now, maybe perhaps in more of a playing a different role than I would have. And I'm more of, I won't say the adult, but I'm more parenting in some areas. I'm saying that in the most respectful way because I'm like, well, maybe they are not thinking about it this way anymore because now I'm thinking further ahead than they are.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's different. And they all are having different health issues as you age, right? Everyone has health issues as you age. So I'm being conscious of the fact that their life is different. They're not the same capacity that they had before. And
Yeah.
I have to accept that
Yeah.
and help them through those things as much as I can. Again, I wish I could spend more time with them so that every hour and every extra minute with them is a blessing. Alhamdulillah.
Looking back, Muna, what part of your journey are you most proud of?
I know I'm proud of a lot of things, alhamdulillah. I think I'm proud. I think I'm the most proud of maintaining my identity as a Muslim throughout the many stages of life that I've been through and proving to myself, not to others, that you can do it. I've had people along the way, very close to me, that didn't think we could do it, didn't think I could do it, or we could do it. Told me that this thing on my head would prevent me from getting to where I am today.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've seen a lot of people go through struggles and, everything is qada wa qadar, right? It's all Allah's will. So it's not because of anything that I personally did or my parents personally did. At the end of the day, it's Allah's will. And like my parents say, it's their dua and my dua and our dua that helped us, our prayers and everything that got us here.
Yeah.
But I think I'm most proud of that and that Allah has given us the strength and the health to get where we are today. And I keep praying that I get
Yeah.
to see my kids thrive, inshallah, in their lives.
So you mentioned balance a lot since we started talking. You said there's always that challenge of balance. Do you think that your definition of balance has changed over time?
Definitely. It's a roller coaster. There's no perfect balance that happens every day. It is a equilibrium that happens over a set period of time and you get to set your own boundaries, whatever they are. And you should know yourself. I think you have to figure out for yourself what that means. Some people need to take those breaks on a daily basis. Some people need to take those breaks on a weekly basis. Some people need to look at things and you just have to balance it out for yourself and understand what good looks like for you. If you come to me and ask me what I should do, I can tell you, I can't dictate what works for you. You have to learn to understand the signs from yourself when you're off balance.
Yeah, that's a beautiful way of putting it. What's one thing you would say to other women, Mona, who are also in this kind of sandwich generation that we talked about?
My number one thing would be to, first of all, appreciate what got you to where you are. Very hard sometimes to recognize the struggles that your parents may have gone through and to understand where they are in life. Number one. But number two is important to also set your boundaries, whether it be above or below you, work, family, friends, life in general. Because if you give too much and don't take, or give to yourself, you're going to be burned out.
Mm.
And you have to know when you set those boundaries that you're not going to keep everybody happy.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if you're not happy and if you're not content, then nobody else is going to be content around you. And
When life feels overwhelming, where does Mona go mentally or emotionally to reset?
I go to the gym. I go for a walk sometimes. Yeah, I go to the gym.
Okay, so exercise and moving your body. And if your sisters were describing you, you mentioned all the different things right at the beginning about them thinking you're the leader and creating a hat that they would wear. But what do you think they would say if they were describing you in a couple of words?
I just remembered it was actually not a hat. I think it was like a button or a sticker or something. They might say I'm overly organized, but if you come look at my closet right now, it's not, and that's okay. I'm a recovering perfectionist. Don't let perfect get in the way of better is my mantra. What else would they say about me? I think they would say I'm responsible. You'll have to ask them.
Maybe we will. You never know. If you could sit with a cup of coffee and speak to Mona 5 years ago, what would you say?
The next 5 years are going to be transformational. A lot of change is going to happen in your life, and it's going to totally shift your perspective from a family and work perspective. Stay focused on the end game and be sure you communicate regularly when things are not feeling right.
Beautiful. Anything else that you'd like to share with our audience today?
Like I said, I kind of alluded to it earlier, is don't let perfect get in the way of better. If you are always trying to be a perfectionist, you're always going to be disappointed because you can't achieve perfection. So if you just get better, a little better every day, you're going to make progress. And from that comes that willingness to adapt and be flexible. And then through that, you learn to take care of yourself and learn about the things that keep you happy and keep you motivated to keep going.
Thank you, Mona. Thank you for this beautiful episode. I'm listening to your journey. So inspiring. I know that on a personal level, you've inspired me to change a lot of things when it comes to my physical activity. So I know that you've got a huge impact on a lot of women around you. And may Allah reward you for that. This was Stories in a Cup, where stories are held, not rushed. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, too. It's been fun.